We're also identifying shocking levels of incompetence and probable fraud in the Social Security program for our seniors, and that our seniors and people that we love rely.
A sitting president sued his own government for $10 billion. The case settled. And out of that settlement came a fund worth nearly $1.8 billion in taxpayer money, with one man's former personal lawyer holding the keys. Then, last week, a federal judge froze the whole thing. Here is what is actually going on, what is proven, what is still just an allegation, and why even some Republicans are uneasy. Stick with me, because the part most headlines skip is the part that matters most. Start at the beginning. In January, President Trump, along with his sons Donald Jr. and Eric, filed a $10 billion lawsuit against the Internal Revenue Service. The reason, a government contractor had leaked their tax returns. According to PBS NewsHour, this was the first time a sitting president sued his own administration in his capacity as a private citizen. That is unusual on its own. But it is the settlement that turned this into a national argument. Rather than take a direct personal payout, the administration structured a deal. The Justice Department would set up a fund. Newsweek reported the mechanics: the money, $1.776 billion, would be pulled from the Federal Judgment Fund. That is a standing Treasury account that normally exists to pay off ordinary legal judgments against the United States. The number, by the way, is not random. 1776. A nod to 1776, the founding year. Somebody chose that on purpose. The Justice Department named it the Anti-Weaponization Fund. Its stated purpose, in the DOJ's own announcement, is to set up a lawful process for what it calls victims of lawfare and weaponization to be heard and seek redress. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche said the machinery of government should never be weaponized against any American, and that the department intends to make right past wrongs. So that is the official version. A settlement, and a fund to compensate people the administration believes were unfairly targeted. Now here is where it gets contested. Critics looked at this and saw something very different from restitution. Start with who runs it. According to multiple outlets including Newsweek and Time, the fund would be controlled through a 5-member commission appointed by Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche. And Blanche is not a neutral figure here. He previously served as Trump's personal defense attorney. So the president's former lawyer would help oversee a nearly $2 billion pot of public money created by the president's own settlement. Legal experts raised 3 specific concerns, and I am pulling these from PBS NewsHour's reporting. 1. The money would go to a third party with no connection to the original lawsuit. The IRS case was about leaked tax returns. The fund pays people who say they were targeted by the government, which is a completely different group. 2. There is no judicial oversight of how the money gets distributed. A normal settlement has a judge watching. This one, critics say, does not. 3. The pool of people who could apply is huge and politically loaded. PBS reported it could include individuals who rioted at the Capitol on January 6, people who say their online speech was censored, and others. That is what drove the slush fund label. Senator Elizabeth Warren called it, quote, an insane level of corruption. Other critics used the same word, slush fund, arguing it is a way to route taxpayer money to political allies. But fairness cuts both ways, so here is the administration's defense, in its own words. A Justice Department spokesperson told Newsweek the department remains extremely confident in the fund's legality, and pointed to past precedent, including what it described as Obama-era settlements, to argue this is not unprecedented at all. The DOJ has also said, directly, that the money will not go to Trump or to the other plaintiffs in the case. So you have 2 stories competing over the same facts. Restitution for real victims, or a taxpayer-funded reward for allies. Which one you believe depends a lot on whether you trust the people running it. Here is the part a lot of the early coverage missed, because it just happened. The fund is currently blocked. NBC News reported that U.S. District Judge Leonie Brinkema temporarily halted the fund after a lawsuit was filed to stop it. And look at who filed it, because it is striking. According to Newsweek, the plaintiffs included a former federal January 6 prosecutor who had been fired by the DOJ, and a California professor who had been acquitted of assaulting federal agents. Their argument: the administration engineered what they called a collusive agreement to move money without congressional approval, bypassing the Constitution's appropriations clause. In plain English, they are saying you cannot invent a $1.8 billion spending program through a private legal settlement and skip Congress. And then it escalated again. CNBC reported, citing Axios, that in the face of the court ruling and pushback from Republican senators, the administration now plans to drop the fund. One senior official described it as, quote, dead for now. A hearing was set for June 12 on whether to keep the freeze in place. So as of right now, the fund exists on paper, a judge has frozen it, and the administration is signaling retreat. This story is still moving. Step back, because the fund is not happening in isolation. It landed in the middle of a much larger argument about this administration and money. The biggest piece of that is crypto. And this part is well documented. On his latest financial disclosure, released through the Office of Government Ethics, Trump reported more than $57 million in income from World Liberty Financial, his family-linked crypto venture. That figure is not an estimate or an accusation. It is from his own filing. The scale gets bigger from there. A Wall Street Journal feature found that World Liberty Financial generated at least $1.2 billion in cash for the Trump and Witkoff families over 16 months, plus another $2.25 billion in paper gains from crypto holdings. For comparison, the journal noted that Trump's real estate empire took 8 years to produce a similar cash figure. Now, a caution, because this is where honesty matters. You will see numbers like $4 billion thrown around. Those larger figures often blend cash with paper gains, and many of the sharpest estimates come from Democratic-aligned sources, like a House Judiciary Committee Democrats report and the watchdog group Public Citizen. The underlying ventures are real and the disclosed income is real. The biggest dollar figures are contested. I am going to show you the documented numbers and let you judge the rest. World Liberty Financial, for its part, has denied any wrongdoing, and the White House has previously issued blanket denials of conflicts of interest. Why does all of this matter politically? Because Democrats are making corruption a central message heading into the 2026 midterms, hammering conflicts of interest. Whether that lands with voters is an open question, and not one this video is going to pretend to answer for you. So where does this leave us? The lawsuit was real. The settlement was real. The $1.8 billion fund was real, and now a judge has frozen it and the administration is backing away. The crypto income is documented in the president's own disclosures. The harshest interpretations, the word slush fund, the $4 billion headlines, are claims made by critics, and the administration disputes all of it. Here is the honest bottom line. The facts are serious enough that they do not need exaggeration. A fund built from a presidential settlement, run by the president's former lawyer, with no judge watching, frozen within weeks by a court, is a real story whether or not you add a single dramatic flourish. I am not here to hand you a verdict. I am here to hand you the documents and the disagreement. The court hearing is coming. We will follow it. If you want the follow-up when the judge rules, that is what the channel is for. Tell me in the comments which part surprised you most, the fund, the freeze, or the crypto numbers.